Hello everyone and welcome to Stefan's podcast, the only podcast for everything Japanese news, Japanese myths and what's going on in the big wide world of Tsushima. We have got some great news stories for you, we certainly have. We've also got some scary Japanese myths. We've got one coming from me about the Japanese myth of the Kawakuma or Kawaguma. We also have a Japanese story coming up for you, not written by me, that's alleged to be a true story about a scary thing that happened in Japan. And we also have our next yokai off next week, where I describe the yokai, and the next week I shall write a short story about it and tell it to you. But our first thing for the video is the story from me, and this is called The Beast in the River. And this is based on the Japanese myth of the Kawakuma or Kawaguma. And this is a scary little monster that lives inside rivers. It's very big and is said to be a mixture of like a bear, a river beast, and it loves treasure, loves to get its hands on treasure. Doesn't particularly want to kill people at all, but it just wants its sweet, sweet treasure. Once it's got its treasure, she'll dive straight down to the bottom of a river and store all of its stuff there. So without further ado, I shall jump into the story, titled The Beast in the River. The river is my only option out of this hellhole. The police have blocked all the roads. They mean to arrest me for stealing my birthright. The jewelry is mine. It belonged to my father, and I'll be damned if they are sold to the highest bidder to pay off his debts. Every road is blocked by that cocksucker and his boys. It's amazing how efficient the police can be when you steal from the mayor's son. Perhaps I didn't have to beat him as badly as I did, but he's always been a prick. It's about time someone showed him the way of the world. For a moment when I was striking him, I thought I could hear my father telling me to hit harder, coaching me through the ordeal. I even felt his hand guide me as I broke Johnson's jaw. Though they have the road blocked, I know a way out of this town. I shall take the river tonight. It's almost fitting, really. My father used to tell me tales of a creature that lived inside the river when I was young. A creature that wanted one thing, gold and treasure. But by then, the madness had already started to set in. His tales of the creature got more and more strange as time and his illness spread throughout his body. Tonight is a full moon. While it will make travelling across the river easier, it does mean I'll be more easily spotted by the police. I'm tempted to wait for better light, but I fear that if I stay any longer here, they'll find me. If I'm caught, they'll likely hang me for striking the boy. My father, he was right. There is a beast in that river. It attacked me last night. It reached out from the river and pulled itself onto the boat. Its face was something like an ox. I tried to fight it off, but its claws, they were bigger than a bear, and it was just too strong. Though the creature could have killed me, it didn't. It seemed to have no interest in me, it just wanted the jewels. It swiped one of the sacks from me and tried to reach for another, but I was quick enough to dive on top of them. The creature could have killed me for them, but it didn't. I guess my father was right all along. All the creature wanted was the jewels. While the beast will fight for them, it won't kill for them. If the rest of the stories are true, the jewels will now be in the beast's lair in the deepest point of the river. Maybe I'll return one day to collect them, but for now, the heat is just too much. But if I'm honest, I have the jewels I want. I have my father's rings and my mother's wedding rings and his favourite jewellery. What was left in the bag was valuable, but it didn't have the same emotional value to it. And for me, this was never about the money. It was just about keeping my father's legacy alive. But one day, I shall dive into that river and find them. And that's the end of that Japanese myth. That was, of course, based on the Kawakuma or Kawaguma, depending on what part of Japan you are from. And it's quite a little scary story. I quite like how this creature isn't particularly deadly, or at least in the stories that I've read, it's never killed anyone. So I didn't want to add to a story where it just like goes out and kills someone and starts attacking them. So I wanted to give like a soft story to it, and I quite like that. Now the story that I'm going to do for next week is going to be based on quite a cool little Japanese myth for you. It's based on a Oshōuo, I think that's how you say it, Oshōuo. And what this is basically a turtle with a Buddhist face. So these creatures, if you ever see one, are said to bring you terrible misfortune. And the people who generally run into them are fishermen. When they're out fishing, they will catch one of these turtles which have a Buddhist face. Now these turtles can be pretty big. They grow up to 150 to 180 centimeters. So that's pretty big. That's probably about the size of my table here. Quite a considerable big old turtle for you. And it's said if you release them nicely and give them a little bit of sake, then nothing bad will happen to you and you will live a pretty normal life. But if you don't return them nicely and you don't give them sake, ooh baby, a lot of bad things are going to happen to you. They are going to bring bad storms, they're going to bring bad fishing catches, they're going to bring curses, your money is going to be gone, and you are going to face some serious misfortune. So if you ever run into one of these turtles, you have to be very, very careful. And if you don't, ooh, baby, you're in trouble. And I've got a picture of one here, and it literally just looks like a turtle with a Buddhist head, which basically a shaved head, and that's it. But an interesting creature nonetheless. I actually think I am going to write a nice story for this one next week, and this yokai might actually feature in the next book, the series follow-on that I'm writing about the beauty of Japan, because I quite like this story and it's a cool thing to go into. It will definitely be somewhere in the series. I haven't quite decided where it will be in. I'm fairly confident I might put it in the next book, or if I don't, it's going to be in another book that I want to write in the future, because I can see some good stuff coming from this. You know, a turtle that is also like a Buddhist monk is very, very cool. I can see it being like a very wise figure that can advise people, or it just turns up and brings people some serious misfortune. But that's enough about that for this week. Next week I shall write the short story about that, and we should talk about that myth some more. Now, our next story is said to be a true story based on a Japanese website for true stories, and this is called Saikei Baigo, I think that's how you say it, and this was written by someone anonymously. So we shall read it and go from there. This is my first post, so I apologise if it's difficult to read. This happened when I was at home preparing for work. I was so tired from the day before that I fell asleep without realising it. Suddenly, I found myself standing in an unfamiliar Japanese-style room, and in front of me was another me, sitting upright, making this noise, going fa-fa-fa, fa-fa-fa. He was chanting something with a certain rhythm. Next to him was a woman with her face all blurred out, and as the voices got louder, the rhythm just kept going in sync. The blur on the woman's face seemed to disappear as the noise got louder, and at that time another me said, "The moment you hear it, everything becomes clear." I didn't understand what it meant, but suddenly I saw myself right in front of me. It said one word: friend. Then the mosaic, or the blur on the woman's face, was completely removed, and I was able to see her clearly. Then I woke up. It was a dream. I didn't really understand it, but for some reason I'd broken out in a cold sweat. The next night I was at a drinking party with some co-workers, but I wasn't feeling too well, so I decided to take the last train home. As I was waiting for the train at the station, I saw a woman in front of me. Of course, she was also waiting for the train, so she was facing the platform, and I couldn't see her face. At that moment, the train came, and when I started to hear the noise, I was speechless. The sound of the train rang out the exact same rhythm as other me was making in the dream. The train whistle was blowing its rhythm just like in my dream, and the sound got louder. As the train finally approached, I heard one single noise: friend. The woman turned around. Her face was exactly the same as the mosaic in the dream that I had. Then she jumped in front of the train. At that moment, I'd realised what happened. I'd seen a dead person in the future in my dream, and it came true. And that's the end of that story. So that is a very, very scary prophecy dream that person had, and I do not want to have one of those. That's very, very scary. All of these stories are said to be true from the website, so we shall see whether it's true or not. We shall never know, but that is certainly a terrifying story nonetheless. And I don't want to be at a train station in Japan and ever hear the word friend. That is terrifying. But that's all of our scary stories for today. We have now got our Japanese news. And because it's New Year, we've got some of the old news stories that have come back around. It's been funny making these news stories for the last couple of years, because it feels like Groundhog Day at the beginning of the new year, because a lot of the stories are very similar to last year's one. So I'm going to jump into it. Our first news story is about the big sale of the big tuna fish that happens every year. So let's jump into it. The Tuna King, an owner of a sushi restaurant chain called Sushi Zanami, I think is how you say it, paid a record 510 million yen, about $3.2 million, for a giant 243 kilo Pacific bluefin tuna at Tokyo's prestigious New Year tuna auction, making it the highest price ever recorded since data collection began in 1999, surpassing the previous national record of 333 million set in 2019. And you're probably wondering, why every year does this first tuna go for so much money? And the reason basically for it is mainly advertising. So when a person buys the first tuna of the year, it's a giant news story in Japan, especially when you break the record that has been held previously. And your restaurant name gets published in pretty much every single Japanese newspaper, every single Japanese TV show, and even international news stories pick up this story all year round. So it's really, really good advertising for your company. It's also something that doesn't happen often in Japan, is bragging rights, and the Japanese don't really get much of an opportunity to brag about things. So being able to buy something and have your company like plastered all over the press for doing something, and it doesn't feel like bragging, oh man, that's win-win for the Japanese. It really, really is. And also, it's said to be lucky. Buying the first tuna is said to be very lucky and very, very good for business. But to be honest, I think if you have $3.2 million to spend on a fish, chances are you're going to have a particularly good year. Although, I do wonder, they said the previous record was in 2019. I wonder how good his year was. I suppose actually 2019 was just before COVID really kicked off, right? Because nothing bad really happened until 2020. So 2019 would have been a good year. 2020, that was the bad year that we don't want to talk about. But that's that news story for you. Our next news story is about mochi, and this story comes up every single year. It certainly does. In fact, I was reading the comments on this news story, and they were saying it's not a new year unless someone dies from mochi. So let's get into the news story. The Tokyo Fire Department reported that 7 people aged between 80 and 96 were taken to hospital after choking on mochi during the first 3 days of the new year. During the same period last year, 9 people were hospitalized for a mochi-related choking incident in Tokyo, and 2 later died, prompting health authorities to again urge caution by recommending people moisten their throats with tea or soup before eating mochi. So remember, if you come into Japan, you're going to eat mochi, you have to moisten that throat, make it all wet and let it all suckle down. Who comes up with these stories? I don't know, but it doesn't happen a lot. People do die throughout Japan from eating this very, very soft and sticky snack. It really does take a lot of hard work to chew, and because of that, people will end up choking on it. In fact, I was reading last year, and I don't know if they carried them this year, but fire departments were carrying this basically like a vacuum that you stick down someone's throat if they start choking on stuff, and it will suck it out, and they do it that way. So come to Japan, be careful eating the mochi. We do not want another dead person because of mochi, but you might want to be dead after reading about this new business, which is very popular with tourists, according to Japanese news. And weird thing is, sometimes I swear Japanese news companies, they just copy and paste the stories from other people instead of finding their own news. But this story has been doing the rounds for the last couple of days, so I'm going to go into it. a new business is a hit with foreign tourists. A foreign language babysitting service for tourists are taking off in Japan, driven by wealthy families who want to enjoy cultural experiences that are difficult with young children, such as high-end dining. One service based in Kamakura employs English-speaking certified childcare workers and even a nurse. It has handled over 50 requests since launching in April 2025, and with prices starting at about 54,000 yen for 3 hours. Now, I double-checked the price on this, and multiple sources have said it's 54,000. I thought this had to be a mistake, but apparently that is the price, and it's 54,000 for 3 hours of babysitting. I'm sorry, but what in good lord are the babysitters doing that warrant this is $350 for 3 hours of babysitting. You have got to be out of your mind. Now, let's look at what do the kids actually get to do during this time. They get to go on fun activities like going to a temple, Zen meditation in a temple, and visiting nursery schools in Japan. Now, going to nursery school, I think that's really cool. That's a good experience for your kids, getting them to mix with children who they're not normally with, and maybe trying out some Japanese and just seeing what life is like in a different school. That I'm like totally for. That's good, but for 54,000 yen? That's ludicrous. For 3 hours. That is so unbelievably expensive. It makes my head hurt. And I've checked this multiple times. I really have. And I can't believe that anyone would pay that for 3 hours. For days, yeah, for maybe 3 days, I would be happy with that. But for 3 hours is just absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. I honestly, unless my kids are getting, I don't know what they'd have to get for 54,000 yen. 3 days in Disneyland, maybe, and then I'd be happy. But God, that is just ludicrous. Would you ever pay that much for childcare? Let me know. It's a mad story. But our next news story coming out of Japan is about a deadly car crash. Now, there's been a deadly car crash in Japan caused by tea, would you believe it? There's been a multi-vehicle car crash involving 12 people and killing one person early on Sunday after tea leaves spilled from a moving truck, causing vehicles behind it to skid all over the place. The tea leaves spread over an area of 500 meters, which is a very, very big area. Four people were taken to hospital and one was later confirmed dead. The injuries of the three were otherwise non-threatening, and the man who died, a 78-year-old man from Saitama Prefecture, was hit by a vehicle after he stepped out of his truck after the crash. You do have to be really careful if you're ever involved in a car crash after getting out. That is actually probably one of the worst moments, because at least when you're when you're in the car, you have something around you. So if you're ever in a car crash, be careful. But to die because of tea, what a way to go out. That seems like a very British death, but here in Japan. And ugh, who would have thought it? Death by tea. Ugh, that's like something out of a Final Destination movie, isn't it? Something like totally unpredicted. You just see all the tea coming out and then it's spinning around. Oh, what a horrible way to go. Sad for his family, but terrifying, absolutely terrifying. But that's all our news stories for today. I will be back again next week. I might actually be able to get another episode in this week. No, I will. I'll be able to get another episode in this week. So if you are watching this, thank you very much for watching. I can't believe we are almost a week through 2026, how quickly that has gone. And I shall be making more of these videos in the next couple of days. So I shall see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.